Do you think marine resources can be exploited to create jobs and transform Nigeria into a leader in sustainable marine activities?
Yes, the answer is affirmative, yes. And why do I say yes? Like you did talk about the background I put. If you look at the coastal line of Nigeria, let's say from Lagos to Warri to Port Harcourt to Uyo, and all other places in the Nigeria, within the coastal line, we have the privilege of the marine or the blue economy you are talking about. The blue economy will depend more on the ocean or the water itself. And you're talking about creating jobs. Yes, most of the other part of the world, you see the tourism along that coastal line. People will say they are going on holiday to where? Ocean front, ocean side, and so on. Many hotels come around, resorts come around that line. So you can see job from that area. Now, if you want to tap into tidal energy, you can only get a better tides from ocean and the like. Such a thing also will give you employment and job opportunity. You want to go into shipping line and so on, you can create your harbor, your port within the same marine environment we are discussing about. So there are a lot of opportunities within the blue economy, particularly in Nigeria, and with the creation of that ministry now, with adequate policies and program, I think that would be a good thing for us for a sustainable environment and probably a good economy for our country to develop.
You talked about the ministry that's just been created. I'd like for it's called Nigeria's Blue Economy Ministry. I'd like for us to explore that angle in a little bit. But where exactly are you, Professor? Are you in a marine environment?
Where I am now, or where actually I am, I'm University of Lagos, surrounded by water.
Ah, it's so beautiful. I like it. I like it. It's so beautiful. All right, so let me ask you regarding the ministry that's just been created, what 4 areas should the ministry focus on? Well, let's not streamline it to 4 areas. What are the core areas do you think this new ministry should focus on?
Or ministry is supposed to be like policy making a body for implementation by appropriate bodies. For me, first thing they need to do is to make sure the policies are in place to drive that ministry. It's a good idea to create a ministry, to create a department. The ministry are not created by law, like an agency or government that's established by an act, where certain clear definition will be given. So if there are policies to actually go into this blue economy that are actually workable, that will be the first thing I would say. They'd come up with documents, policy guidelines, regulations, and so on. And if there exist, some of them like what's guiding the MASA, MPA, and other like such environments, we could tap into that and make use of them. And the ministers decide in that position should also need to work with the experts in the field to actually guide. Internationally, there are countries that actually have deep dive into this blue economy thing, from our green to blue, and so on. So we can take advantage of such opportunities and implement them. Those are the things I would say first when you go to the ministry. Ministry are more of policy makers after the law comes and so on, to be driven either by private sector or government agency associated with such responsibility to actually work. So I think this is my thoughts in this area. I actually put your question forward.
Right, fantastic. You know, in my introduction, I talked about fishing, tourism, and how it's part of this blue economy we're talking about. There's this thing called Argungu Festival. It's huge in the north. I don't know if you know about it. And my producer has got some very beautiful pictures that I'd like for her to flash of the Argungu festivals. You also have tourism sectors where people can visit places where like where you are now. Okay, there you go. This is a very huge one, and is done, you know, annually here in Nigeria. I'd like for you to talk about how the country it can, focus on festivals like this and cause it to become revenue generating avenues for the country.
Yeah, thank you. I've been privileged to be in Arugungu myself, KB. I've been privileged to be part of this program you talked about a few years ago along the line. Like you rightly said, fishing is one major thing you take in the deep water. And then for places like Arugungu you mentioned, that become the way of life. And then like once in a year, they celebrate, they bring it out and so on. It's very clear. This may not only be for Arugungu only. Like I did mention, from Lagos from Warri to Port Harcourt, back to Calabar, Uyo, coastal line. It's good enough for us to have such fishing and actually take place, which actually give job, but it must be controlled. Like I tried to say earlier on policy making and so on. So it must be controlled. Like in Arugungu, if that's the way of life, we take fishing as part of the agriculture. And that's actually our way of life in this part of the world, which we are abandoning for oil and gas. And everybody's running away. Everybody becomes just a trader, not productive any longer. Fishing is a productive system, and people say sort of livelihood. So I will encourage, like we did mention earlier, for the Honorable Minister and such a ministry to see how to tap into such opportunity that actually been established. At least people live on that, people develop on that, and whatever government can also do to make it international festival that will become part of tourism on its own, aside from actually picking the fish for whatever you want to use it for, and so on. So I support totally the policy that will actually ensure we take advantage of what we have in that area. The livelihood, the cost of living, the GDP could also be increased based on this activity if properly harnessed and developed. Most of the people you see there are locals who are actually doing their best. We can modernize their process also to make it better than what we are saying. So these are my thoughts on the Arugungu Festival you mentioned, which actually do that. And if you, along the coastal line, tourism is possible. So if we celebrate and we showcase that, what comes in. We've been complaining of capital flight. Many of our colleagues in different environments say you are going on holiday to where at other country. You go by beach side, you go by seaside, and so on. What can we do in our own country that people can also come? And then probably that 1 week, people say they want to be on holiday to KB in Arugungu in particular, and witness all this. They actually put their own money down, pick some souvenirs and so on. I think it's a great opportunity for us as a country, because we are blessed with that marine environment. This is a country that just drop any seed on the floor, something will germinate. Marine environment is actually it, and the blue economy is it that we need to actually dwell on and take advantage that God has blessed us with.
How can these communities leverage on their environment to build the nation's economy as we continue to talk about the potentials inherent in Nigeria's blue economy?
Yeah, they can easily be integrated. Like when we talk about Arugungu, and you did mention since 1934, these are actually the fundamental people, the indigenous people in that area. They were born, they live out their life, their livelihood depend on that coastal environment. So what we need to do is to actually integrate them if truly we want to move the country forward. You don't go there and just disturb them or displace them or just take over because we have authority of government and so on. The best thing is to actually integrate them into our blue economic policy. We tap from their traditional knowledge to the modern knowledge. And no one should be left behind, whether a child, whether women, whether old or young, because that particular area is their own way of life. So the coastal community will play a great role in this. If you go to a place like Uganda, along the line of Lake Victoria, you see a lot of resorts along the line. Whereas, and at the same time, local community has actually also been taken care of. They are able to do their basic fishing. They are giving some line. You see them within their own local environment. We are, but the tourists feel like they want to even see how it's done locally. So the local community along the marine line, the coastal area, should be integrated into the blue economy principle that government is trying to actually advocate and work on. So for me, they are key stakeholders, and they must be carried along in whatever government policy would be, private sector will be involved. The environment must remain clean, we must have a sustainable environment. We must key into certain social standard and environmental standard, like we say, stakeholder engagement, labor influx, working conditions, sexual harassment that may likely come into such local community when people come in to actually invest in business along the coastal line on the blue line that we're talking about. And then improvising them, we must do all our possible best to make sure they are actively involved.
Thank you, Professor. You know, you talked about some of the challenges, you know, involved in harnessing the potentials in this sector as regards, you know, fishing and all of that, and people living in coastal communities. But we do know that the blue economy also involves sectors like maritime transportation, you know, shipping and all of that. Let's talk about some of the loopholes, some of the challenges in that sector that you would like for government and investors alike to really take a look at, so that at the end of the day it will be smooth sailing as that you know, industry is harnessed.
All right. Thank you for that point you raised again. Like anytime we talk about blue economy, we cannot leave transportation aside. It's one of the key things that you get through blue economy, particularly when you transport goods for international water to reach any country you want to do. Shipping, like you did mention Nimasa earlier, I've also mentioned the Nigeria Port Authority, who actually should do with responsibility in that line. If the policy of government encourage private sector active involvement with good policy, our transportation system, like we always say, let's do multimodal system of transportation. There are goods that need to come to your country, they have to come through water. That's due to the shipping. So people can get involved in shipping business, in docking, in naval building along the coastal environment, whereby, like, if you look at Lagos in particular, congested. But if you have Warri Port working, you have Calabar Port working effectively, but that port is working effectively, most of these things will pass through that place. And there could be also intermediary ports, harbor, where people, where all such shipping system will also apply. So the major challenges I could see now is investment in private sector to get involved, because government cannot do all. Government cannot do all. And then the policy must actually be accommodating, must be environmentally friendly, and must not neglect social factors. So the transportation system is a key area in the blue economy. And like Nigeria, like the CMP and the mass, like they are like those generate revenue for the country. So it's a good business environment that we can tap into. Let's drag in private sector with the national development in our mind, not just personal development of individuals who are there today, who may not be there tomorrow, or those who are there yesterday and they cannot sustain what they've done. So we must come up with policies that will be sustainable, that will uplift whoever is in power today, uplift individuals who are actually in position, and whoever come in later will see good in what it should be. I strongly believe that one can lift the economy of the country. We don't need, like, many cargo that come to Lagos, they could actually move to in between. And then from that place, you move out. You'll be in shipping town, rural, large, and so on. These are the area where we actually could work. And then if government policies are encourage it, give room to the private sector to get involved, and the investor to go to it, then we have a good day in the country, and development is actually at our fingertip.
music to my ears. Now, earlier on, while she was reading the day's top stories, my colleague Alfreda Ambebasi did say that the Director General of NIMASA, Bashir Jamo, had said Nigeria's blue economy has the potential to employ 350 million jobs if properly utilized, million Nigerians if properly utilized, focusing on underused maritime opportunities like seafood and ship repair facilities. Now, he also talked about using modern technology, right? I would like you to react to this statement by NIMASA's DG.
I think the DG is totally right from the way he put it across. My background is engineering. Who are those who do the ship repair, building those facilities, the dockyard, and so on? These are actually the opportunities that we have. But it was this actually encouraging. You know, Niger Dock, the dockyard, and so on. So where are they today? I hope they are effective and so on. So these other windows for private investors where they could easily come in also and then help us to make sure we move forward. You will see that when you see the marine engineers, the ship repairers, those who actually want to build new ones and so on. That's another opportunity of the blue economy itself, because you know people who need it, people can come to this country, also pick from us. So this, I totally agree with what he proposed when he gave that lecture. I'm prepared to be in that lecture the day he gave it, and probably in the University of Lagos when he gave the lecture on this blue economy thing. And if and only if we have leadership that will buy and implement it appropriately, then the chances of moving forward in the country is there.